Hey guys, Toxic here. Today in Toxic Talks, we're going to be talking about this guy here, the Imperial Knight. Now, picked this up today. Started assembling it about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30. I watched a baseball game and it was finished basically as the baseball game ended, which ended at about 11 o'clock my time. So about 4 hours to assemble, but I did do some, not really modifications, but magnetizations. I magnetized this little flappy flag thing, mostly because I figured if something's going to break, it's going to be that piece. I didn't glue on the torso to the legs, just because, well, if I wanted to like take it anywhere, it's probably going to be easier just to break it in half. Magnetized, where is it? This guy here, the little heavy stubber. It's a very weak magnet on that one because it's going through plastic, but it was just easier to do it that way. I was gonna magnetize this thing on, but I kept it. I wanted to make sure that all the weapons could come off, which they twist on, but if you have the shoulder pad, you can't twist it off. So I had a pretty difficult time actually magnetizing the shoulder pads on. The magnet was easy to go on the shoulder pad itself, but the arm, it was kind of hard getting it on that rim thing, so I just kind of cut it in half and did a little bit of green stuffing work and put the little magnet in there. So that magnetizes off. The two shoulder pads magnetize off, and then the arms, they just twist off, which is the way the kit's made. But you can't do it if you put the shoulder pads on. So the shoulder pads can kind of clip in there, but I prefer to have the magnets to make it a little bit more secure. And that's just one kind of solid piece. I didn't bother magnetizing anything else there. But at least this way I can break it down and paint it a little bit easier as well, kind of paint it chunk by chunk. And then I kind of wanted to do a special base on it, otherwise it looked a little short, honestly. I may have made it a little bit too high, but I wanted to have like a cool looking base on it, so I kind of got this big kind of rock formation in the middle with some planks of wood just kind of lying around. I mean, this is about the same height that I was expecting it to stand when I saw all the comparisons to other models. But when it really comes down to seeing the model in person, I was a little disappointed by some of the size of the like the head, and it just was a lot smaller in person than I thought that it was going to be in when I saw it in pictures. I know, that's what she said, but but yeah, so the build itself was relatively easy. Yeah, it took me a little while, and I did probably have, maybe an hour, 30-minute break in between where I had dinner and, and I was watching a ball game and as well. Had a drink as well, so there you go. But and with the magnetizations, that takes a little bit longer. So without all that, you could probably get this guy put together in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Maybe less, how many you've put together in the past. Honestly, it's very simple. The side pieces, they look really complicated, but a lot of that is actually just molded on detail there. There's not a lot of assembly. The legs were pretty easy. Everything was relatively easy. I went for the rapid fire battle cannon just because I feel like, at strength, at the strength that it is, strength 8, it's probably going to be able to pop tanks, anyway. And this guy here, the D-strength weapon, is going to destroy anything in close combat. So I wanted to go for the rate of fire in the 2 large blasts rather than the melter template with the strength, because I feel like these guys really lack in firepower, but they look so awesome. So yeah, that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about. Quick little video of getting this guy kind of assembled and put together. So he's pretty, sturdy there. He's not gonna, the torso's not really gonna come off when you're playing it. The arms don't come off. The shoulder pads are relatively, there's only a little tiny magnet on there, but they're not coming off. So So it's all put together nicely. It's a little wobbly, but you can kind of face him to his targets. So, and yeah, just easy storage. Big models are a little difficult kind of transporting, so that's why I wanted to kind of be able to break him apart. So I'm overall really happy. I think I spent 128 or something like that. I got it was like 126. Yeah, I got a 10% discount on the $140 model because I paid in cash at my local store. So it was definitely not a bad purchase. I just need to get an army to run him in. I'm going to be using him as an ally rather than a primary detachment. It depends, Maybe if I picked up a couple more of these guys, maybe we would go primary detachment. But I really think the lack of options in the Knight Codex really forces you to take it as an ally, because otherwise you're never going to reach the points values. It's 375 points. How do you kind of reach a points limit where you just have big chunks of points to add? You can't get little things and upgrades. So I really think that better for either taking as your primary with some allies, or taking as your allies. You definitely, you could. There's nothing stopping you. You're going to be under points, but they're definitely not something that I can see people taking as a primary detachment with no allies. So yeah, excellent model, really fun to assemble, great looking model. He's relatively easy to magnetize. I guess I could have stuck the shoulder pads on and magnetized the arm joints in there. That way they could twist. They could twist anyway, but I like to glue them in place because I was going with the whole spinning arm to take it off, and it was a lot easier just to glue it all in the solid pose. Plus, I've seen a lot of people, they leave the arms unglued, and the turret and the gun and the chainsaw over here fall in, and it looks like he's got his arms in like that, and it kind of looks silly to me. Whereas this is magnetized, but when he all goes together, he's in a relatively good position and good pose. So yeah, so really happy with that kit so far. Would love to test him out in a game. So maybe I'll get that up and I can talk about that. But anyway, that's all I really want to talk about today. Just the Imperial Knight there. So I do hope you have a wonderful day, evening, wherever it is whatever time it is when you're watching this. Once again, my name's Toxic. Check out allysindex.com. Have a good one.